everyone, I hope you're well. So today it's time for another video, and today I thought I'd do a video on my most embarrassing stage moments ever. And trust me, there's been a few. Now these are a mixture of professional productions and amateur productions. So we're going back to all the way from, I think the earliest might be the age of 9 maybe, around that sort of age. So it's been a right mixture, and there's a lot more than just these couple that I'm naming today. Because hey, let's face it, the girl's been on stage quite a lot. Because obviously I've been performing on ships for the last 7 years, and when you're on board, the productions that you do, so you usually do about 3 shows a night. So that's quite a lot. If you kind of put that into consideration of 7 years, that's quite a lot of stage time. So there's been quite a lot of funny moments. However, today I've just picked my top 5, which for me have lasted with me for a long time. So enough of that, let's get started and let's hear all about my embarrassing moments on stage. So this first one is pretty special. So I was in an amateur dramatic production of Les Miserables, and it was a school's edition, so everyone I think in the production was under the age of 18, 20, I'm not sure what the rules are. I was luckily cast as the role of Fantine, and I absolutely had an amazing time. It's such a fun role to play, and I was super excited to do it. However, the embarrassing moment will stick with me for a lifetime. In case you don't know the story of Les Mis, spoiler alert, Fantine goes through a bit of a transformation. She has beautiful, beautiful long hair, and then near the beginning of the show she ends up getting it cut really short because she needs the money to sell her hair, so she sells her hair for money. So the way we did it in our production was I had a really, really short, horrible kind of cut wig. Then on top of that wig I had another wig that was pinned on with a couple of pins, and it was really, really long and beautiful. And then on top of that I had a worker's hat on. And so that was because I could really, really quickly go behind a couple of chorus members, take the pin out, and then suddenly I had short hair. And when it was done correctly, it looked amazing. However, if you know Les Mis and know how Les Mis is set, before anything happens, before any of the hair transformation, Fantine sings the very famous song, I Dreamed a Dream. So she sings the first bit with the worker's hat on, and then she sings the line, and it all went wrong, and at that point she takes her hat off. So I was so in the moment, loving singing this really dramatic song, went to go and take my worker's hat on, put it on the floor dramatically, and there was a gasp from the audience, and in the wings I could just hear gasping, and I was like, what's happened? I really sussily looked down and saw that in my worker's hat was my full long wig. So all I had on stage was this horrible short spiky wig, and at this point she's still meant to be beautiful. So I didn't know what to do. I couldn't put it back on my head, so I just sung the whole of I Dreamed a Dream with an awful short wig on, and I could just feel the tension of everyone watching in the wings. All the cast members had come to watch, and it was awful. I think it's probably the worst song I've ever sung in my life, because I was still quite young and I was really, really self-conscious by the fact that I'd ruined the whole show. So anyway, after that number I came off stage and I was like, do I put it back on? Because it doesn't make sense. They were like, yeah, put the wig back on. So within a couple of hours period, Fantine's hair grew again. But anyway, that's amateur dramatics for you. Well, hey. So my next moment, I thought I would stick with the am-dram, and this was in The Sound of Music, where I was playing the role of Brigitte, and I think I was really young, maybe like 10, possibly older, I'm not sure. So at this age, I was a very, very enthusiastic young performer, and I was determined to be the best kid on the stage. So you all know the song Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti, and each of the children in that song has a different word that's their word, and Brigitte is me, Do, Re, Mi, because she's the third person. So part of the choreography was we all had to stand up on our word, and my word was me. So we've got Do, Re, Me, and I stood up with so much force, and I was like, yeah. And then again, gasp from the audience, little known to me, I stood up, but my skirt had stayed on the floor. So I was stood up there. I had pants on, but there I was, exposed at the age of 10, 12 to a whole audience of people. And yeah, that sucked. So I very subtly went down and picked my skirt back up again and just carried on like a true professional. So next I wanted to move on to some professional productions. So I played the role of Cinderella in a pantomime, and I loved playing this because I had such a beautiful big dress and it's such a fairy tale. And pantomime, if you've ever done it, is just really good fun. It's really Christmassy and I just loved it. So in our production, there was a moment where I was asleep on a bench, and then Prince Charming walked in and I woke up, and then we decided to sing a lovely little love song together. And my first part of choreography was listening to him, then I had to stand up and run across the stage and then sing the verse on the other side of the stage. Now, I had a huge dress on with a massive petticoat and quite a few different layers. And the bench that I was sitting on was quite an intricately designed bench with lots of little swirly patterns. And little did I know that my skirt had somehow got caught up within some of these patterns. So as I stood up and ran across the stage, I brought the bench across the whole stage with me. Now this wasn't like a nice light wooden bench. This was a full-on metal bench. And I thought, well, the harder I tug, the more likely my dress will come out. But no, I just brought the bench across the whole stage with me. And by that point, I didn't know what to do, so I sat back down onto the bench because I was stuck well and truly. Looked over at the prince like, okay, we're winging this. And I could, you know when you look at someone on stage and you could just tell that they cannot keep it together, and they've got that. And that was it, and they'd gone, I'd gone. I just had to lie down and pretend to fall asleep, but this was my falling asleep, was just, you know, the shoulders are going, and that was fun. Oh, there's so many more moments. There really is. I could write a book, but I've got another one which is a really great panto moment, totally my fault, really unprofessional, totally not cool. I was backstage, just chilling out. I was playing the fairy in a production of Jack and the Beanstalk? I can't remember. It was a panto, and I was playing the fairy. If any of you have ever been in a panto or seen a panto before, the fairy's quite a bitty part because you tend to go on, say a couple of lines, come off, then wait a few scenes, come on, say a couple of lines, come off, wait a few scenes, go on, you get the idea. So I was usually really good on my call. I was usually really on it all the time, and plus we had a side of stage stage manager. Oh, my camera's flashing, I just charged it. Side of stage manager also giving us pre-calls so that we could go and get ourselves ready. This one time, clearly me and the stage manager were not concentrating, I did not get a pre-call, and I was in a world of my own. So I completely missed my cue. And there is the poor Jack, it was Jack. Poor Jack's on stage trying to sell a cow to no one because the fairy was meant to go and buy it, but the fairy wasn't there. The fairy was backstage drinking coffee. And I was sat there drinking my coffee, and all I could hear was, oh, I wish someone would come along. And I'm like, I don't think that's a line in the script. If only there was maybe a fairy. And then I was like, oh. And at this moment, my mic was still live because obviously it's all pre-done. So I was like, oh. I nearly swore, I didn't swear. But anyway, I ran out, did the scene, ran off, but I had no idea how long she had been on stage for, and apparently it had been quite a long time. As in, other characters had started going on to try and fill the time, and there I was, just chilling, backstage with my coffee. Really professional. Great job, Joe. Really good. So I was gonna do one more, but my camera's flashing, so I think I'm gonna leave it there for this time. So if you have enjoyed this video, let me know, because I can totally do loads more of these. That's just like the tip of the iceberg. So anyway, if you have enjoyed this video, please give it a little like, give it a little subscribe button, because I'd love for you to join my little YouTube family. And don't forget to hit that little bell right next to the subscribe button, because that means you'll get notified every time I put up a new video. Anyway, there's lots more content to come this year. I'm actually working super hard on a top secret video, which I'm hoping to release in the next month if I get moving, because I really want it to be good, so I'm working really hard on it, but no promises. Hopefully within the next month, 2 months. That's all for now. I hope you're all well, and I hope you're all having lovely days, and I'll see you very shortly. Bye!